Hey adventurers, so today is going to be my quarterly MBR for the first quarter of the year, which is January, February, March. This is an MBR and it is not a TBR, but these are kind of the way that I'm treating these MBRs is there a guideline, an outline kind of for the year of roughly what I might read. And of course MBR stands for may be read or might be read. And so that's kind of the goal of this video, is just to give a couple of books that I might read in this first quarter. I'm not going to do the 18 like I did per quarter last year, because that didn't end up happening any of the months, but I wanted to give myself a lot of choice last year. I'm not going to do that so much this year because I know that I won't have as much time to read, and so I'm just going to kind of do what happens. And these are the books that I want to get to, that I'm really going to try hard to get to, and we will see what happens from there. So to start off, as I did last year, my holdovers from the last quarter, the only book that I'm still reading that I didn't finish before the end of the year is Rackety Tan by Brian Jakes, not Brandon Sanderson, by Brian Jakes. This is one of the Redwall books, about a third of the way through, and I need to finish this one up. I don't know when. This is not a high priority read for me. I've read it in the past. I want to read the entirety of the Redwall series, and I need to, and I will, but I haven't done it yet. I'm slowly working through it because I want to get a review for all of the books out. Anyways, I'm gonna do that, continue reading Rackety Tan, but I haven't gotten there yet. I will eventually. How long that eventually will be, I'm not sure, but hopefully this quarter I will be able to finish it up. The next thing that I am rereading is I'm doing my annual reread of The Lord of the Rings. This is going to be a different version of how I normally read these books. I have another video that I'm kind of like a reading vlog for Lord of the Rings, because I'm purposely approaching reading Lord of the Rings differently this year. But I want to mention how that is here, and then I'll go more into detail in that other video. But basically the idea spurred from a couple of conversations. I don't remember who the first conversation, or who the one conversation was that prompted me to do this specific thing. But the idea also was a little bit in last year when I reread Lord of the Rings. David Wiley and Steve Donahue joined in with me, and they both started in the Two Towers. Started at the Two Towers. They didn't read Fellowship at the beginning. And that idea of starting at a different place or reading it slightly differently than normal really appealed to me. I wanted to try that this time. And so what I ended up doing, after having a discussion with another person, I was watching a video, or I was talking to somebody, I can't remember what, and the idea to read from a specific character's perspective for this book. And so what I'm doing is I'm reading from Frodo's perspective. I'm only reading the chapters that are about Frodo, which means some of the choices of Master Samwise, for example, that chapter, I won't read it because it's not about Frodo, it's about Sam. As such, there's going to be massive chunks of the book that I won't read. The first half of Two Towers and the first half of Return of the King I won't read because they don't have Frodo in them. They're not following Frodo. And I want to just see how the story works and how the world builds itself through that perspective, and just seeing how that works. And so that's the idea. Just read the Frodo chapters. Of course, Fellowship of the Ring has Frodo in all the chapters, and so I'm basically reading all of that, all of Fellowship. But we're going to continue on now because I've talked about this long enough. You all know what I think about Lord of the Rings anyway, so I don't need to continue on with that, but I am rereading that. Yeah. Then I have Beowulf. It doesn't matter what translation I read. I have the Seamus Heaney translation. I also have a different translation that is not mine, it's my family. But I will probably try to read the Seamus Heaney because it is mine, and I've heard that it's a very good translation, or at least a very good starter translation. And so I will. That's the plan for Beowulf. Why am I reading this? Because I haven't read it yet. That's why I'm reading it. I really need to read this. My people on BookTube can't really believe that I haven't read Beowulf yet, and so I need to remedy that. I've tried to all last year and I just never ended up getting it. I've never ended up picking it up. I have the book now. I want to try and do it in this first quarter if at all possible, because then I can go into the rest of the year feeling like I've accomplished something that I've needed to for a very, very long time. So anyways, that is Beowulf. That's one of the books on the MBR. Then I've got Pearl and Sir Orfeo. These are two stories by the same author as Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This is the translation by Tolkien. I want to finish these two stories. I love Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. That's one of my favorite stories of all time. And so I want to read that one, but I also want to continue with Pearl and Sorrowfeel, finish those up, just so that I can say that I've read them all, just so that I can mark this book off as a Tolkien book that I've completely read, even though it's technically a translation, not his work, but I'm counting it as one of his books that he wrote because, sure. And yeah, I want to finish those up. If I don't get to those, I'm not stressed about it. That's something that's not high priority, but it is something that I want to do, and it's something that I know won't take that long for me to do. So, continuing. The last one that I have on this list is The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, I think. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced or not. But this is one that Liam from Liam's Lyceum reached out and said, hey, do you want to read this with me? Buddy, read this with me. It's supposedly in post-Arthurian Britain. It says it right at the beginning. So it's Arthurian adjacent at the very least, which makes it Arthuriana for me. And I love Arthuriana. I love medieval Europe, history, fantasy, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to try this. I said, absolutely, let's read it. I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I'm going to, this is my priority read. As soon as I finish Lord of the Rings, I'm going right into Buried Giant, and unless Liam needs a couple days or something between when I can start it and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, this is my high priority read. So basically Lord of the Rings and The Buried Giant are my high priority reads for this quarter one. I don't know anything else about this book. It's fairly short, a couple 317 pages, so it's not horribly long, large enough font that I don't think it'll take terribly long to read, and we will see what actually happens with it once I get into it. I will do a review of it, and it's going to be a buddy read with Liam, so that's kind of the reason why I'm reading it, but I am excited to read it. So that is kind of my MBR for quarter one. And going into this year, well, for one, there's been several people in my corner booktube who are doing a kind of read what you own challenge. It's not a challenge, it's not a hard and fast rule or anything like that, but they're, rather than focusing on new books and buying books and stuff like that, they're focusing on the books that they already own and reading those books. And this is kind of also one of my goals. I want to kind of do this. I'll talk more about goals in a different video. Kate and I filmed a 2024 goals video, and we'll talk more about goals in that video. But for right now, I just want to mention, because it kind of ties in with this TBR, MBR type stuff, I want to say that's kind of my goal too. I want to read the books that I already physically own, and I have plenty of them. I'm not opposed to buying new books. I'm not opposed to especially finishing out series that I have, like Rune Lords. I only have 4 of the 8 Rune Lords books, so I want to try and get the other 4 in first edition hardbacks if I can. Stuff like that. Wheel of Time is another example of that. So if I can do that, that's awesome. I'll continue buying books, and I'm not opposed to buying books or getting new books, having people send me books, whatever the case might be. But I will kind of be trying to read the books that I already own, and along with that, I will probably not be accepting every single, well, I already don't, but I would probably not be accepting a ton of review copies from authors, whether it's ebook or physical book. Maybe an audiobook, but I don't know what my time for reading audiobooks is going to be like, so who knows what I will actually end up reading or accepting or anything like that. But that's kind of the idea, is just slow down, read the books that I own. I know that I'm not going to have a ton of time to read this year. 6 of the 12 months at least are not going to be terribly heavy reading months. I know that for a fact right now. So we will see what actually happens with that. But I'm excited for this, and I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of a guideline out, or a map, a little bit of what I'm going to be reading for this first quarter of 2024, and then I'll do another one for quarter 2 and quarter 3, and then I'll have a final one in quarter 4, final MBR for the quarter 4. The biggest reason I'm doing this is because I need more videos, and it's an easy video idea to come up with, and an easy video to talk about. So anyways, that is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys again soon. Stay well.